It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is CarEdge Live for Friday, August 22nd, with your hosts, me, Ray, here in, well, it's dry today, but there is the potential for coastal flooding in Ventnor City, New Jersey. And, well, my handsome young son in Washington, D.C. And today's show is nothing but you get to ask us whatever the hell it is you want. Hey, and I'm open to anything, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to just fire questions at will.
Yeah, that's the deal, folks. We're just doing Q&A today. Friendly reminder, CarEdge.com. If our team can help you out with anything, check it out. And a friendly reminder, we are offering 20% off CarEdge Insights and our car buying services. We have an incredible team here that serves hundreds and thousands of customers every single month. Please give us the privilege of trying to serve you. Check it out, CarEdge.com. All right, so Onus is on the chat today, Dad. Onus is on the chat. I don't even have a question to kick it off with.
I start the first comment for you.
Collared shirts, is everybody okay? I'm having a pretty rough day, if I'm being honest. How are you doing, Dad?
I'm effing great, buddy. I'm having a phenomenal day. It is, I mean, literally, I was sending pictures to my children last night, like every 15 minutes or so, showing how far the water was creeping into the parking lot here at the condo. And I can honestly say at a certain point, the entire parking lot was filled with water. I had never seen flooding this badly in Ventnor. I'm sure there's been times when it's worse, but I had never seen it. And as I was explaining to Zach this morning, I was watching people kayaking down the street. Okay, not in the bay, just down the street, because, well, the bay was in the street and in our parking lot and other people's yards. And yeah, it was lovely last night. So why are we wearing collared shirts? It got chilly. Okay, it's 68 degrees in my apartment today.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the weather's changing. Dad, let's keep it moving here. We've got from Believe in Yourself. Will my manual transmission journey be shared as a documentary? I don't know. We actually got to execute on that. I feel frustrated with myself because we talked about doing it and then we didn't do it, which is like a bit of a thing that I'm dealing with today. Like talking about doing something, but then not following through with it. I'm feeling frustrated right now about that with myself. So if we do it, sure. If we don't do it,
no, let's rephrase that. When we do it, it's not if, it's when. We just don't know when the when will be. But when we do it, we will definitely document it, ladies and gentlemen, because I think that could probably make some of the most compelling video that we've ever produced here at CarEdge, especially me fearing for my life as I'm saying, no, the clutch, the brake, the gas, use them all, buddy, use them all.
Sounds like we're doing it, folks, but I got to figure out how to make that happen. Scuba Bob wants to know, when's the next Mazda hybrid coming? Like press vehicle? Is that the question? Or?
Yeah, I would think that's what the question is.
I don't know. I don't think we have anything lined up, which is a bit of a bummer, but that's okay. I'm sure we can reach out to them and ask. Hopefully, they'll give us more press vehicles in the future. XRP wants to know, do you guys look for a 7 to 10% discount from MSRP? Totally depends on the vehicle. So it's totally vehicle dependent and region dependent, right?
It's vehicle dependent. It's regionally dependent. It's brand dependent. You can look for a 7 to 10% discount from MSRP on a Toyota. My guess is you ain't getting it on most of them. Whereas you could look for that 7 to 10 or greater discount on, say, a Ram pickup truck, and I would guarantee you would get that and more. So it really is brand dependent and regional dependent.
Yeah, we have back on CarEdge.com on the car search a target discount, which is the percent or the amount that you should get as a dealer discount from any vehicle you're searching for. So check that out back on the website. We've got this question, Dad, that just came in. What is a non-tax fee?
A non-tax fee is typically a state fee. And for instance, the state title fee, the state registration fee, sales tax itself. You don't pay tax on sales tax. You don't pay tax on your title and registration fees. Now, it's incumbent upon you as a customer to go to your state website, your motor vehicle website for the state, and find out exactly what the fees are that the state charges. Because I'm not going to sit here and suggest to you that there aren't dealers out there that don't inflate the state fees in order to pick up extra money, because they figure you don't know and you're never going to check. And so if it's $132 to register the vehicle, they might tell you it's $232, and that extra $100 is going to them. So you need to check at your state motor vehicle website, find out what the title fee is for titling a car or truck, find out what the registration fees are, and those are non-taxed fees.
Nice. Good stuff, Pops. Appreciate that. As always, we've got here from Road King. Pops talked about leases. How do we know what the residual value is before negotiating?
Well, the residual percentage is set by the leasing company,
which we have on our lease calculator, which is free. So you can use our lease calculator, and it shows you the residual value. So just Google search lease calculator CarEdge, and it shows you the residual value there. Also, the dealership will share the residual value with you.
Well, they have to. I mean, if you tell them that you're interested in the lease and whatever model it is, and you can say to them, well, what's the residual percentage for this vehicle? It's published and set by the leasing company, so it's not a negotiable item. Okay, so and I saw a comment earlier today when I was reviewing some of the comments from yesterday's show, and somebody asked the question, well, isn't the residual value based against the manufacturer's suggested retail price of the vehicle? It is indeed. That's where it comes from. So if a car has a $40,000 MSRP and it has a 25% residual, that means that $30,000 is the amount of depreciation. And the customer's question was, or the commenter's question was, well, but why would I want to negotiate a lower price on the vehicle? Well, the lower price you're negotiating on the vehicle means the cost to the leasing company is less. And so if the car has an MSRP of $40,000 and a 25% residual, there's a $30,000 spread for depreciation. However, if you're buying that $40,000 MSRP for $35,000, well, suddenly there's only $25,000 in depreciation from the selling price, which would end up lowering your monthly payment. So that's the residual set by the leasing company. The reason you negotiate the price is so that you can lower the cost to the leasing company, which ultimately lowers the monthly payment to you.
Leasing is obviously more complex than just financing a vehicle. So again, Google search leasing guide, CarEdge, and we have all sorts of materials like that can assist you with that information. Dad, we've got here for the love of rides. I'm on the CarEdge website right now. I see the email template for requesting the out-the-door price for a new vehicle, but is there a template for used vehicles? It's the same deal. Same deal. You're just asking for the out-the-door price, all taxes, fees, things like that, letting the dealer know you're going to contact other dealerships too. You know, you're a savvy shopper. So that information should be the same between new and used vehicles. We've got here, Dad, from Ray. Yes. Following up on leasing, EV always lease rather than buy?
These days, I would. The amount of depreciation associated with EVs at the moment is astronomical in comparison to most ICE vehicles. Now, the caveat to that is if you are planning on keeping that EV for 7, 8, 10 years, then buy it. If this is your first foray into an EV and you want to take a 24-month or 36-month travel time to see if you like it, then that would be the way to do it. So, and with the amount of depreciation there is and the artificially high residual values that the manufacturers are offering, a lease is much cheaper, and at least it gives you the opportunity to experience an EV for 24 or 36 months. And if you decide after that time that that's what your future is, then buy the next one. But the first one, I would lease it just to make sure A, you're comfortable with it and you like it enough moving forward, and B, you're not the one that's paying for all that depreciation.
Pops from Joe here. We're sticking on the lease theme. Lease versus certified pre-owned, pros and cons. I'm not sure how you can compare leasing.
You can't. They're two different things. One is your a CPO is a certified pre-owned vehicle. Typically, you would purchase those, not lease them. There are some lease deals that might be available on some CPO vehicles, but a CPO just stands for a certified pre-owned vehicle. If you are looking at a certified pre-owned vehicle, make sure it is a manufacturer certified pre-owned vehicle. In other words, what I mean by that is if you're at a used car lot and they have a used Toyota and they tell you it's certified, well, that's a third-party certification, which is completely different than, say, what Toyota's certification program would be for a used car. So, you have to understand, is it a third-party program or a manufacturer program? And leasing, or it's not an apples to apples comparison.
From LT, what's the difference between those non-tax fees you were talking about before and a doc fee? Those are totally different.
Oh, they are, and a doc fee is taxable. And so a doc fee is something you can try and negotiate off of the purchase or lease. Now, most dealers, if they will negotiate that with you, will negotiate a reduction in the selling price in an amount equal to or less than what the doc fee is. But the doc fee will always appear on the buyer's order and all the other documents associated with the deal, because they want to be able to claim that everybody gets charged a doc fee. So you can try and negotiate an equal amount of the doc fee off of the selling price.
Absolutely. Let's keep it going here.
Wow.
Do you think Chinese car brands will hit the U.S. markets? Will they be a lot cheaper if and when they do? We're getting geopolitical here.
I would think ultimately someday, maybe not my lifetime, but eventually things make it here. It is so hard to try and predict something like that based on the current political situation surrounding tariffs and worldwide trade. So things are so much different today than they were 7 or 8 or 9 months ago. So it is hard to imagine that we will see Chinese imports in the United States anytime soon. Would they be cheaper than comparable Asian brands, Japanese brands, Korean brands, or domestic brands? You bet your sweet ass they will. Even if the government of China has to underwrite it, they will. It's just, that's the reality of the situation. If they're going to enter a market, they're going to enter it by having a huge price advantage over everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Dad, you've got here from Eric. Is the best time to buy a used car now or wait for prices to go down? Used car market doesn't seem like prices are going to go down anytime soon. Macro sentiment there. Like used car prices are just higher than they've typically been. But what do you make of this question?
Here's the best way I can answer that question. If you can find a pre-owned car today that you like at a price that works for you, buy the damn thing. Okay. If you think you're going to time your purchase perfectly as to when prices are either going up or down, I guarantee you will be wrong. Okay. You might be close, but you'll be wrong. And so the concept of a pre-owned vehicle is they are one of one. Yes, it could be a Toyota Camry, and there are hundreds of thousands of Toyota Camrys, but no other Toyota Camry was driven and maintained the way that particular Toyota Camry was. So if you find a used car that you like at a price that you're good with, just buy the damn thing. Either that, or just sometimes you just move forward and buy the damn thing and put yourself out of your misery, because this is never really going to get better. And it's as good as it's going to be for the time being. If you find that bargain that works for you, just buy it.
From Namret, it seems to me
Yes.
that the down payment of cash that's required for a lease sort of nullifies the benefit of a lower price. Is that true or not?
Well, the down payment that you see advertised on leases is to lower the selling price of the vehicle to the lease company. Okay. And they're counting on you to do that rather than you negotiating a lower price of the vehicle for the lease company. And the reason they use cash down like that, where they say it's $39.99 down, that's so it can fit into that cheap payment they're trying to advertise. Remember this: on a 36-month lease, every $1,000 equates to about $30 a month more in your payment. So if they're advertising a lease of, say, $289 with $4,000 down, well, 3 times 4 is 100. That would be 120. So 289 and 120, you'd be at about a $409 a month payment if you don't put the money down. So think of it that way. Are you just buying the lower payment, or can you afford not to put that $4,000 down? And as I like to suggest to people, take whatever a large amount of cash you were planning on putting down on a lease, put that into a separate savings account, okay, that pays next to nothing, but it pays something. Put it into that separate savings account, and every month as you write the check for that lease payment, instead of the $289, and it's now going to be $409, take $120 out of that special savings account and add it to the $289. So bingo, bango, bongo. It's like you're drawing down on that $4,000 every month as opposed to just forking it over.
Another one from Road King here. How does Toyota get away with TSRP instead of MSRP?
Because it's the same thing. A Toyota suggested retail price is the same as a manufacturer suggested retail price. They're just calling it their individual manufacturer's name. It's the same thing. It complies with the federal laws around a Monroney label or a window sticker, and they have to list either the manufacturer suggested retail price, or in this case, Toyota's manufacturer suggested retail prices in lieu of it just being MSRP.
It is very confusing, though. I'm not a fan of this, and I think they should just have it be MSRP and not allow the manufacturers to brand it as something else. It creates confusion, so I'm not a fan. I
didn't say I was a fan of it either. I'm just saying it's the same damn thing.
Yep.
I'm losing my voice today, young man.
From Tech in San Diego, I leased a new vehicle in 2024, but the manufacturer has made improvements to the vehicle since then that I would prefer. Is it possible to turn it in early and lease a newer model without a penalty? How does this work, Dad?
The best way to describe this is leases are designed to go full term. Okay. So can you trade out of a lease early? Yes. The way they figure out a payoff on a lease You sitting down, folks? They take your remaining monthly payments and they add them all together, and then there's a little bit of interest savings that they subtract. But basically, you're going to make all those payments whether you trade it in early or not. So I would think you're going to find that to be somewhat of a penalty. I just leases are designed to go full term. Take the damn thing to the full term. Then you can get the latest and greatest that comes out then. And it seems to me that the latest and greatest is really important to you. Maybe you might want to consider a 1-year lease next time as opposed to a 2 or a 3-year lease, because every year the latest and greatest is going to come out.
What about this, Dad, from Josh? How about lease takeovers? They're gaining popularity and they're a neat idea. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, there are companies out there that will help someone who wants to get out of a lease find someone who can take it over for them. I am not entirely familiar with the process as to how it works and how they get the bank approval. Sometimes you can go to the lease company yourself, your lease company that you're using, without using a third party source, and say, I have found someone who is willing to take over my lease. I would like to, if their credit qualifies, would you allow us to do that? And then you would just have to provide a credit application to the leasing company, and they can handle the paperwork that would accomplish that.
David wants to know our take on when manufacturers will make vehicles small again so they'll fit in normal garages. I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
No, I think it will be make American garages big again.
Yeah.
Or bigger.
Bigger, yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty sure when they were building all those mansions, they weren't building them with small garages. So, yeah.
Unfortunately, that seems to be what's going on. From Test Accounting here, I'm considering selling my 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA. Yes. I would be break even at around $26,000. What do you forecast regarding the GLA Mercedes SUV? This thing is getting expensive to maintain. It's always been expensive to maintain. It's the first thought that comes to mind for me. Dad, I think Mercedes is struggling to sell a lot of their entry-level vehicles. I mean, they're struggling at both ends of the spectrum. So I'd imagine you could get a quote-unquote deal, like a dealer discount, but I'm not necessarily going to get back into another GLA after realizing that owning a GLA is quite expensive.
I think I would go to CarEdge and under research and put in a Mercedes-Benz GLA and see what that suggests the future holds as far as future values for that vehicle.
And then, Pops,
you got to be so proud of me for me being the one to say that. You know, I actually pay attention on these shows.
Friendly reminder, folks, we do have our 20% off discount back at CarEdge.com, CarEdge Insights, and our car buying services. Clicking into car buying services, we have Negotiation Expert and the full car buying service. We're able to help save folks tons of money, tons of time. You tell us what you want. We search, we negotiate, we do the whole thing for you. So please go check it out back at CarEdge.com and take advantage of that. And like my dad said, click on research as well, and you can do your vehicle research here back on CarEdge.com. too. All right, Dad, we're going to switch gears.
Okay.
From David, what is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life is simply that life is a roller coaster, okay? That some days you're going to go up and some days you're going to go down, and then a few more days you'll go up again, and then you'll go down again, and then you're going to get sick of it, and you're going to go, why can't I just be happy? Well, the meaning of life is that you should spend your entire life asking that question, and then the day you realize what the answer is the day you're going to drop dead. So stop worrying about the meaning of life. Damn it, just live it.
All right, there you go, folks.
I've got it now. Boom. Who needs that?
I agree with this one right here from Minnie. Happiness comes from inside. I think that's the right answer. The meaning of life is being happy with yourself, being by yourself, being happy. So anyway, that's
whatever. Yeah, the meaning of life is a different meaning for everyone.
That's a really good point. Really
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
All right, we got any other questions coming in? Questions, folks, for today's Q&A with Pops and I from CarEdge. I'll filibuster for just a second here while we're waiting to see if any additional questions come in. Dad, any questions for you bubbling up right now that you want to ask? What's for lunch? What are you doing tonight?
I keep thinking to myself that, we do this every day. And
that we do.
What?
That we do.
Yeah, we do this every day. And I keep hoping and waiting for the industry to go, it's time to modernize. It's time to become customer centric. And not that I want the industry to put us out of business, because they're doing the right things, but that would be nice. Because, at a certain point, the people spending the money deserve to have a pleasant time doing it. And for most folks out there, they will not rank buying a car up there as one of their favorite things to do or pleasant things to do, because for whatever reason, most folks have a pretty miserable experience doing it. And there are many in the industry that will suggest that, well, we're seeing to it that people have a miserable time doing it because we give them all kinds of bad advice, about getting the out the door price and this and that. And I see the reason we ask all the questions is because, we don't want the customers to land on the wrong. No, the reason you ask the questions is so that you can maximize the profit, because your pay plan is set up for you to get paid more for the more profit you make. So the important thing for customers to remember is the tools that we share with you based on the fact that you have done your research. What do I mean by that? You have established the maximum price of vehicles that can fit into what for most people is their monthly budget. So we try to educate you well enough so that if you know the max you can spend to be at your monthly payment is $35,000 for a car plus fees, that when the salesperson asks you all the questions that they're going to ask you, and you're going to continue to say, I just want the out the door price, it has to be based on the fact that that you can't suddenly start looking at $40,000 or $45,000 vehicles, or even more expensive. So the education we're trying to share with you is to set you up for success, because you understand your budget prior to ever walking into a dealership. And if you understand your budget prior to walking in, and you will only limit yourself to looking at the vehicles that would fit into that budget, then yes, the way we try and tell you to answer the questions is the appropriate way to answer them, because you are sticking within the guidelines of what will work for you. If you are not going to do that research, then answering the questions we tell you how to answer them is probably just going to prolong your misery, because you haven't done the work beforehand. Okay? You have to do the work beforehand, because the salespeople have done their work. They know what they need to do. They know what questions they need to ask. They know what answers they need to get, so they can tailor all this together to find a car for you that works, that maximizes their profit, so that they can be happy and you might be happy. But so it's just imperative that you really do the work prior to ever going into a dealership and answering the questions the way we suggest you answer them.
Not sure how we're going to top that, folks. Again, my role in today's show is just to remind you to take advantage of all the resources we give you to do that work back at CarEdge.com. Dad, I'm enjoying doing these more Q&A oriented videos. We did leasing versus buying the other day. Today was just open-ended Q&A. I think when you tune in on Monday, folks, don't be surprised if we spend more time just doing these more intimate question and answer shows. I think it's quite fun. I know there's some additional questions in the chat. That being said, Pops, let's call it a show for today.
Okay.
And let's plan to come back on Monday and do it all over again.
Well, that's my plan. Yeah,
no,
if there's one thing you can count on, folks, when the clock strikes noon on Monday, my ass will be in this chair and I will be going, it's noon in Ventnor City. There's not much you can count on, but God willing, and the ocean don't rise anymore. Or actually, in my case, the bay. I'll be here Monday doing it. Okay, so yeah, you can count on that. Take that to the bank, damn it.
All right, folks, we're back on Monday. Enjoy the weekend. Love you, Pops.
Love you too, handsome. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.